Hello, people of the future. It's week 3 of Pokemon Draft League. This week we're going up against the Hammerheads. They have Hydreigon, Tapu Fini, Skarmory, Reuniclus, Terrakion, Lycanroc Dusk, Seismitoad, Arcanine, Comfey, and Virizion. So, coming into this matchup, Kyurem with Freeze Dry Choice Spec should be able to take quite a punch into most of his team. Should be able to break through Tapu Fini, hurt Skarm some, Terrakion, Lycanroc, Seismitoad, even Virizion. So definitely wanted to bring Kyurem, give the choice specs for that extra power. Next up, Tangrowth. Rocky Helmet to kind of get some chip on any of his physical attackers, knock off Giga Drain, then hopefully we can kind of try and status some people with Sleep Powder and Stun Spore. Next up, the glue of the team, Rotom, Hydro Pump, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, and T-Wave. A good special defense sponge leftovers just to give it some little recovery. Togekiss, Heavy Duty Boots, Thunder Wave, Air Slash, Dazzling Gleam, and Defog. Again, trying to be a little more of a defensive pivot, and then hopefully we can T-Wave some stuff to slow it down, and Defog just to get rid of any hazards. Mimikyu with Choice Scarf. With this, I'm trying to outrun any of his threats that he has. He has a lot of guys that are faster than me. Hydreigon, Terrakion, even Lycanroc are all faster. So hopefully with Mimikyu, with Choice Scarf, I'll be able to get some momentum. And then Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, and Drain Punch just to get some stabs and hopefully get some recovery with the Drain Punch. And finally, Urshifu with Life Orb to really hit hard. Wicked Blow, Sucker Punch, Close Combat, and Poison Jab just in case we can get Tapu Fini sort of whittled down. I think Poison Jab will do 60% to it. So really good way to hopefully get rid of a big defensive pivot for him. And that is the team. I will get back to you once we start. Okay, so my microphone crapped out in the actual game, so we're going to have to watch the replay and sort of talk through what my thought process was. So seeing he brought Tapu Fini, Skarmory, Terrakion, Reuniclus, he's got his Hydreigon, and then Arcanine. So most of his heavy hitters, I think looking at this, I figured the safest bet to start off was going with the Rotom Wash. It can easily hit most of these guys, with the exception of Hydreigon or Reuniclus, for pretty effective damage. So that's who I decided to lead. So coming out, I see Arcanine with Intimidate, which is, a good lead-off matchup. We can go for the Hydro Pump to start off. He decides to double, or switch, I guess, into Hydreigon to try and tank whatever it would be, a Volt Switch or a Hydro Pump. Luckily, I predicted that he would switch, or even if he had stayed, I wanted to get status on him. So I decided to go with Thunder Wave. It lands, and so that way, already turn 2, Hydreigon has been slowed down. Here, I decide to switch out. He goes for U-turn, bringing in Reuniclus, and then I go for Volt Switch. Seeing that even after paralysis, he was faster than me, it let me know that his Hydreigon was going to be Choice Scarfed, which was good, so that meant nobody else on his team was Choice Scarfed. So I Volt Switch out, I bring in my Urshifu. He switches to his Skarmory, go for Wicked Blow, which does a lot of damage, but with Life Orb, and then also here with Rocky Helmet, it's going to be a really bad chip down on me. So here, switches to Tapu Fini, Misty Surge. 37% is pretty good. Here I could have gone for a Poison Jab if I really wanted to, but I believe at 69% that would have been a roll. So I decided to just switch into Tangrowth. It can basically tank anything. You can get recovery with Giga Drain or Sludge Bomb. He goes for double, or the switch right there. Then I bring in Kyurem to sort of check his Skarm. He's going to go for the Roost to get him fully healthy. Maybe not the greatest switch, but there's nothing really I could do there with Misty Surge, blocking out any status. And then also with Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb, neither of those are going to do much to him. So I bring in the Kyurem. He decides to switch out for Reuniclus, and then I hit him with a Freeze Dry. It does 35%. And then I switch into their Shifu just to threaten him again. He goes for the Future Sight, so you're going to have to be worried about that coming up. Misty Surge finally leaves, so now I'm thinking, okay, I'll just go for a Wicked Blow. No matter who it will be, it'll take a big chip. Skarm comes in, and then here, again, with the Life Orb and Rocky Helmet chip, it's already getting my Shifu down to pretty low health. Arcanine comes in for that Intimidate. Wicked Blow still does a lot, but losing some of that health. Luckily, since the Dark type is immune to Psychic, don't have to deal with that Future Sight. Here, I probably could have gone for another Wicked Blow. Might have not been the worst thing, but I decided to switch out to Rotom Wash. He goes for his Morning Sun to recover some of that health back. Switches back to Hydreigon. Get him with a Thunderbolt. So here I'm thinking, he's probably going to U-turn back out. So I decide to Volt Switch. He gets his Paralysis, which is good. It allows me to bring in Mimikyu. So now I really threaten him with the Fairy type. And so he decides to switch to Arcanine to get that Intimidate off. I go for the Play Rough and it's resisted. Here I switch to Togekiss just to hopefully get some sort of maybe Air Slash spam or whatnot to get some hacks. He decides to Teleport, which is going to switch into Tapu Fini. Getting that recovery with leftovers. He switches out to Reuniclus. I switch back into Rotom Wash. Here I'm thinking I'll just Volt Switch again. Looking at that damage, that's probably Assault Vest. And then here I go for Mimikyu to try and get a Shadow Sneak off on him. He knocks off my Choice Scarf, which isn't the worst thing. Switches into Arcanine to get that resistance. I go for the Shadow Claw. 34% on a crit, not the greatest. Go for it again. Here he's just going to heal up, try and sort of keep all of his guys healthy. Switch back to Rotom on the switch, so now it's Reuniclus. I go for the T-Wave and it misses, not the greatest thing. He goes for the Future Sight. His Hydreigon comes out. A crit there on the Volt Switch, which was very nice. And here I'm probably going to switch back into Togekiss. Switches out to Tapu Fini. And then here I'm going to try and hit him with Dazzling Gleam. Does some amount of damage. And get the chip from the Future Sight. So here I'm thinking, well, how am I going to take down his team? Most of his team's still pretty healthy. If you look around, Skarm's at 50, but he has Roost. Terrakion hasn't been touched. Arcanine still has his Morning Sun. Hydreigon's down, but, even with some Dark Pulse spam, he can keep it safe. And then Reuniclus, Regenerator coming in and out. So it was really trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to keep trying to do some damage? Switch into Tangrowth. The problem with Tangrowth, I built it to sort of have that, the two status, the Spore and the Stun Spore, not realizing that Misty Terrain's going to be resisting all that. So really all I can go for is Knock Off and Giga Drain. Here I go for the Knock, get the Assault Vest off, which is good. Future Sight, not the worst, but not the best. Another Knock. He misses the Focus Blast. That's just great to keep him healthy. He's going to switch him out, then I'm going to go for another Knock just to keep spamming it, trying to get somebody on the switch. Heavy Duty Boots. The Future Sight really hurts, especially since Tangrowth is more of a physical defensive. So here, I'm going to switch out to Rotom Wash. He's going to teleport out to get momentum. Terrakion. So here he goes for the close combat, and he barely gets it to kill. I think I did the calculation afterwards, and this kill was 97 to 107 or something like that. So it was a favorable roll, but still, that sort of broke the entire team finally open, since now I don't have a really good check to Arcanine or even something to spam on Tapu Fini or Skarmory with the electric moves. So I bring in Mimikyu. Arcanine comes in for the Intimidate, which is super helpful for him, just breaking off any of those physical attackers. I go for the Drain Punch. Gets 10%. He goes for Flamethrower. Here I try and T-Wave, so I get the Paralysis, and I get him to be paralyzed, which is super useful. Get an Air Slash, hoping for another Paralysis. I get the Flinch, which is just as good. Here I'm going to go for it again. Get some more Air Slash, try and chip down his team. I was a little scared of him having Thunderbolt, just because it could be pretty effective. Here he goes for the Draining Kiss, just to get that extra health. Rocky Helmet chip does help try and keeping him Mimikyu comes back in. He keeps going for the Draining Kiss, getting that chip. Here I'm just trying to get some damage off. Shadow Claw doesn't do too much. Surf does a lot more, and he's still slowly keeping himself healthy. He goes for the Protect, which is actually fine for me. I can switch in my Tangrowth, sort of threaten him with a Sludge Bomb or Giga Drain. Arcanine comes in, so Stun Spore doesn't really matter, which was already kind of an interesting move since Tapu Fini was in, but since it was switching out, I was like, okay, I can hopefully stun something. Mimikyu comes in on the Paralysis, which is nice. Skarm's going to come in to sort of get some chip with Rocky Helmet. He's going to roost up after this. Drain Punch just to try and keep Mimikyu healthy. Oh, he goes for Stealth Rock since he can basically live. See, even here with 3%, now you can go for the Roost, keep him healthy. Not the greatest position to be in. Kyurem comes in. Here I've got the Freeze Dry, which should hurt just about everything. He's going to go Arcanine, which isn't too bad since I am a special variant. So I can get him with the Freeze Dry. Uniclus comes in. I'm a little worried about that Focus Blast or even a Knockoff. Knockoff comes in here, gets chipped with the Rocky Helmet, which isn't terrible. Go for the Sleep Powder and miss. He's going to go for Future Sight. Here Skarm's coming back out. I go for the Knock, which does hurt, but it gets the Rocky Helmet off, so I'm finally not going to get chipped with that. Togekiss comes in for the Whirlwind, which just brings Tangrowth back out. Takes the Future Sight, and he's definitely going to die from that. Urshifu comes in. Here I'm hoping, okay, I can just hit some wicked blows. Hopefully I outspeed just about everything and I can knock it out. So Urshifu gets Skarmory there. Then he's going to bring out Terrakion. And at this point, I know Terrakion's faster than me. So I go for the Sucker Punch just to get some damage. Even though he gets the Justified. Close Combat takes me out. So here it's 2v4. Togekiss comes in. He could have Stone Edge, but I'm kind of hoping he either misses or he doesn't. Brings in Tapu Fini. I go for the Dazzling Gleam, gets some chip off. Here I'm trying to predict, okay, what's he going to go for? He goes for the Protect. Okay, that's fine. I know I still have a killing in my Kyurem. Kyurem with Freeze Dry can take out Tapu Fini and it's faster. It can take out Hydreigon. So it's really a concern of, okay, how are we going to chip down the Reuniclus, and then what are we going to do with this Terrakion, because he's still at pretty high health. So here he switches to Reuniclus, go for the Dazzling Gleam again. Not super great chip. That crit was very helpful in actually getting him to be a 2-hit KO. He switches out. Dazzling Gleam's going to take out Hydreigon. And then finally Tapu Fini comes in to reset up Misty Terrain. Goes for the Protect just to get that Future Sight to actually hit Togekiss. So here it's 3v1. We're looking at Kyurem trying to take out all the team. So here I was debating between going for Earth Power and Freeze Dry. Earth Power would do damage if he actually switches into Terrakion, but then Freeze Dry would work more on Tapu Fini. So here I'm trying to decide, okay, I'll go with Earth Power to try and get Terrakion since I was a little more worried about it. Tapu Fini comes back out, goes for the Protect just to get that extra leftovers heal. And then he's going to take me out with the Draining Kiss after 2 more turns since the Earth Power is not doing enough damage. Here, if I'd gone for the Freeze Dry, I think I could have still taken out Reuniclus and taken out Tapu Fini, and it would have been a 1-0 loss as opposed to a 2-0 loss. But overall, it wasn't the worst matchup. Playing it with the Rotom Wash dying so early to his Terrakion really hurt, because that was a really easy switch into different guys to sort of absorb. And I had a lot of physical attackers with my Urshifu and my Mimikyu, even my Tangrowth with its knockoff that sort of got checked by Arcanine and his Intimidate. So that's the matchup, and then we will talk through his team. That game could have gone better. It started off pretty well, but still, can't win them all. Okay, so his Hydreigon, leftovers, we got Defog, Dark Pulse, Earth Power, and Roost. Tapu Fini with Choice Scarf, going for more of an offensive set. Scald moved my last trick. I'll hopefully get rid of the Choice Scarf at some point in Defog. Skarm, little Rocky Helmet, Stealth Rock, Whirlwind. This Arcanine with heavy duty boots, because any fire type is basically going to have heavy duty boots on it, just because you don't want that 25% chip from Stealth Rock. And you can even look at Lycanroc with Life Orb, trying to get that extra speed with Excel Rock, which I think is +2, maybe it's +1 for priority. Crunch Excel Rock, Psychic Feints to get some good coverage moves. Finally, Seismitoad with, I'm surprised he went Swift Swim. He didn't switch it to Water Absorb or Poison Touch, since you're not really getting much Swift Swim action in this, but Scald, Earthquake, Knockoff, and Toxic. I just want to pointing out that he's got Roost here, he's got a Roost here on Scarm, and then he's got Morning Sun on Arcanine. So a little bit of, trying to regain some health, keep him healthy, get some chip on the other team, even leftovers here to keep it alive, and with only really Lycanroc suffering extra damage with the Life Orb. But overall, really good team build by Juan. That's a tough 2-0 loss, but we'll come back next week and we'll do even better. Thanks for checking out.